towards your seats. We're going to get started in just about a minute. Okay. Welcome. Again, my name is Matthew Stem, still Deputy Secretary for the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education. And it's my pleasure to really celebrate the accomplishments of some of our finest educators here in the Commonwealth. With me today are Secretary Pedro Rivera, Executive Deputy Secretary David Volkman, our 2017 Teacher of the Year, Michael Soskel, and Angela Hoffman, who represents our State Teacher of the Year organization. I now offer the stage to Jim Towse, PDE Coordinator for Educator Recognition Programs, who will provide a bit of background on our Teacher of the Year program. So let's give Jim a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Matt. All right, that didn't work. Trying to raise it up a little. Sometimes I have to bend over to be heard. All right. The National Teacher of the Year program identifies and honors exemplary teaching and classroom practices across the Commonwealth. It annually recognizes a professional who inspires students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn, has the respect and admiration of students, parents, and colleagues, plays an active and useful role in both school and community, and is poised, articulate, and possesses the energy to withstand a taxing schedule, and that's a very important part of that. The Pennsylvania chapter of the National Teacher of the Year began in 1995. The chapter works closely with PDE to support the program by providing services to select and honor the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year. The State Teacher of the Year must be an exceptionally dedicated, knowledgeable, and skilled teacher from any state-approved or accredited public school, pre-kindergarten through 12th grade, who is planning to continue in an active teaching status. At this point, I'll ask Dave Volkman to come up, and I'm going to introduce the 12 finalists for the Teacher of the Year.
Well, thank you. That's very nice. That usually doesn't happen. First of all, I'd like to call Jennifer Wall. Jennifer
we have Barbara Kurtz from Meadville Area Senior High School in the Crawford Central School District. And, okay, Ben, I'm going to destroy this name, so I apologize now. Ben Muir, and the administrator is, oh my gosh, Michael Ditzenberger. Next, we have Georgette Hackman. Georgette is from the Cacalico Middle School in the Cacalico School District. The presenter is Sarah Adkins, and the administrator is Ella Musser. Next, we have Linda Granite from Marshall Elementary School in the North Allegheny School District. The student presenter is Kaylee Withrow, and the administrator is Don Swanger. And next, we have Aaron Goldfarb from the Media Elementary School in the Rose Tree Media School District. The student presenter is Max Effenbein, and the administrator is Dr. Paula Vaschel. Next, we have Adam Gebhardt from Jefferson Elementary School in the West Jefferson Hills School District. The student presenter is Aaron DiNardo, and the administrator is Christopher Vary. Next, we have Christina Frank from Montour High School in the Montour School District. The student presenter is Dustin Cannella, and the administrator is Todd M. Price. Next is Tim Zerko from the Altoona Area Junior High School in the Altoona Area School District. The student presenter is Abigail McGarry, and the administrator is Lori Mangan. And our final finalist is Laura Butler from the Daniel Boone High School in the Daniel Boone School District. Student presenter is Diego Santos, and the administrator is Preston McKnight. So let's do another round of applause as soon as she receives her apple for all of our finalists, because certainly they're all winners. Thank you.
Thank you. 41 years ago, I was a high school senior, and I was in music and sports and typical high school student. Friend Nesta, who is the executive director for the Teacher of the Year program organization, was a choral director at a neighboring school. Somehow, probably through my choral director, we got together, and 41 years ago we would sing at the Presbyterian Church and perform their music together at the Presbyterian Church in Western Pennsylvania in Clarion. And it's interesting. As a high school senior, you kind of take those things for granted. As any high school student, junior high student, you take those things for granted because that's what teachers do. And sometimes you neglect to thank the teachers that do that, and it's expected, of their job. So 41 years later, Fran, thank you. So Fran was probably a relatively new teacher at Keystone School District in Western Pennsylvania, and already involved in the community aspects. And I've since found out a number of things about Fran that he has started, and even from taking groups down to the Pittsburgh Pirates games, hundreds of people singing the national anthem that he's organized, and different things like that. My brother sings, he's my older brother, and sings in the community choir, and Fran composes music, and they were singing one of his songs, and my brother called me, we were singing a song composed by choral director from Keystone, and I said, Keystone? Well, that used to be Fran Nesta. He says, yeah, that's who it is. I said, I know Fran. And so that experience with Fran 41 years ago holds with you for a long time. So students, it's the experiences that make you grow. Classroom work's important, but it's the experiences that make you grow. And my message to you is don't take 41 years to thank the teacher sitting behind you for the experiences that you're going to get today. All right? Thank you. I'm going to have Fran actually come up, and student involvement, that's his forte. So he's going to present the students who are speaking today. Thank you, Fran.
Good morning. I have the pleasure of serving as the executive director for the Teacher of the Year organization in Pennsylvania. And this is an awesome thing. And if you've never been to one of these before, you are in for a treat that is indescribable, only experienceable. Is that a word? One of these 12 people is going to be the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year. But all 12 of them are such exemplary folks, such quality individuals. It's really a situation where somebody's going to get to be the first among equals. So if the teacher that you're here supporting isn't named, that doesn't mean anything except that they weren't named. They're fabulous. They're deserving of all the honor and accolades that they're receiving this week, and they deserve to be thanked as often as we can at every opportunity for as many years as possible, even 41. Let me introduce to you Diego Santos, who will be introducing Laura Butler.
Hi everyone, my name is Diego Santos, and I'm currently a freshman at Penn State University, studying biochemistry and molecular biology. And I have had the absolute privilege of having Mrs. Butler as my teacher when I attended Daniel Boone High School. I can think of no one more deserving than her to be Teacher of the Year, and I know everyone who knows her is nothing but proud. Although I had her in biology 4 years ago, she never stopped having an impact on me and my education. On behalf of all of her students, I know they all share the same sentiment. I could go on forever about how Mrs. Butler is so much more than a teacher, but I'm going to try and keep it short. Mrs. Butler isn't just a teacher. She goes above and beyond that. She's a leader, a mentor, a listener, a role model. No one is more positive than Mrs. Butler, even against the worst odds. If you've ever taken AP biology, you know it's really hard and the textbook is really heavy, but Mrs. Butler made learning fun, interactive, and engaging. She constantly sought feedback from her students to best fit their needs, and I know students love stopping by her room to ask questions, vent about high school problems, have a laugh, or break into her secret stash of candy. She created a learning environment where all her students felt welcomed. Mrs. Butler never stops working until all of her students find success. She truly puts her students first. She always happens to know exactly what to say when students are struggling and supports them no matter what. Personally, Mrs. Butler is one of the biggest reasons why I'm pursuing medicine. I know that the road to becoming a doctor is going to be very hard, but Mrs. Butler has prepared me very well. I'm very excited for the future ahead of me, thanks to Mrs. Butler. I don't know where I would be without her, and I know all of her students feel the same way too. She's too humble to admit her success, but we all love her as much as she loves us.
And now welcome Abby McGarry, who will be introducing Tim DeZerko.
Good afternoon. I'm Abby McGarry. I'm a freshman at the Altoona Area Junior High School. To start, I would like to thank Mr. DeZerko, the Altoona Area Junior High School, and the district, and all of you here today for allowing me to participate in such a great occasion that, as my mom says, too few teachers get to experience. I've had Mr. DeZerko for about 3 years now. The first year I had him was 7th grade. It was a class called STEAM Team. He guided a small group of kids through different challenges and projects involving graphic design. Then I had him in 8th grade for a class called Technology Education. There were 4 stations in this class: construction, drafting, engineering, and graphic design. This year I'm in his elective course called Web Design and Video Editing. In this class, the school news broadcast and other film projects are produced under the guidance of Mr. DeZerko. No matter what class or how many students are in it, Mr. DeZerko pays attention to each and every student individually. He watches over all of his kids to make sure they understand what they're doing and are finishing it at a good pace. He gives them enough independence to add their own style to their projects while also allowing them to do their own work. Mr. DeZerko's classes mostly relate to computers or cameras, so it allows kids to have more of a hands-on opportunity instead of bookwork like some other classes. Whether it's building with wood or designing a calendar, Mr. DeZerko always does an example for students to follow. This is a great method of teaching because when it comes to the time that students actually get to do their work, Mr. DeZerko makes sure they know how to do each and every step while allowing them to personalize their projects. Unlike some teachers, Mr. DeZerko walks around his classroom and checks on everyone. No one is lost or confused in his class because he's always there to offer help for you. One of the best parts of his classes is each student can move at his or her own pace. There are no right or wrong answers simply because there are different ways of accomplishing tasks. The only rules to the assignment in Mr. DeZerko's classes are the ones on a rubric that Mr. DeZerko gives his students. Students are graded accordingly so that there are no ways a student can mess up in his class. In closing, the best reason I can give for why I think Mr. DeZerko deserves to win Teacher of the Year is that he is truly a facilitator of learning, not just a teacher. Thank you for your consideration.
And now, Dustin Cannella will introduce Christina Frank.
If I could open my speech, that'd be great. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dustin Cannella, and I'm going to introduce my teacher, Mrs. Frank. I first had Mrs. Frank during my junior year of high school for college chemistry, a program offered through the University of Pittsburgh for high school students. As a 17-year-old, I thought that I knew everything, of course, and I thought this class would prove no different. In preparation for our first PIT exam, we had a test in class to see how we were grasping the material. Being the supremely confident student I was, I turned in my test expecting to do very well. I'd answered all the questions with what I thought I knew, and quite honestly, I thought I had aced it. Boy, was I in for a rude awakening. I'd failed the first test and didn't really know where to go from there. I thought that I had done all that I could, and the amount of effort that I gave in class usually earned me A's and B's and others. After class, I went to talk to Mrs. Frank about my exam, in which she asked me about my level of preparation. To this day, I have never said the word no more times in a row than when she was asking me those questions. Did you read the book out loud to trigger more of your senses, your hearing, your eyes, your mouth? Did you study the hour to half hour per class period recommended in the syllabus? Are you solid on your basic definitions? These questions and more made me take a look in the mirror as a student and change my study habits that I still employ today as a senior at Washington Jefferson College. During the first month of school, Mrs. Frank would always remind us that we didn't really know how to study yet, but we would learn how to soon enough. I'm positive that you could ask any of her students, and they would tell you that both of these statements are true. About 2 weeks after that first failed exam, we had our first PIT test. This was the true test of our knowledge, and we knew that our professor, Dr. Goldie, played for keeps. When we got our results back, I was shocked, but Mrs. Frank was not shocked. She walked to my desk with a huge smile from ear to ear and said that she knew I could do it. Out of 40 students in the class, I was one of 7 to receive an A on the first test. Up to this point, I had never had a teacher so invested in my learning experience. Instead of trying to numb the pain of the first test by telling me that there would be more opportunities, Mrs. Frank challenged me to become a better student. I took that challenge head on and was able to finish the course with good grades. Mrs. Frank truly believes in every student that walks through her door, and that is what makes her our favorite. It might be rare to have a lot of students say that a teacher is their favorite, but it is even more rare for a teacher to make students believe that they are all her favorite. Mrs. Frank is that teacher, and she is a huge part of the reason I am who I am today. Thank you.
Now introducing Adam Gebhardt is Aaron DiNardo.
To start, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Aaron DiNardo. I'm a 6th grade student at Pleasant Hills Middle School in Pittsburgh. I am a former student of Mr. Gebhardt's. I like to call him Mr. G for short, and I had him at Jefferson Elementary School from 1st through 5th grade. Not only does Mr. G teach 1st through 5th grade, he also teaches kindergarten. Today, I'll still use the techniques he taught me throughout the years. In his classes, we made everything from cave art to masks to 3D printing and more. We did 3D printing and Lego animation in 5th grade, which was my personal favorite. In 3D printing, he taught us how to use a website called Tinkercad, and we just took off. We made buildings and put them together to make an entire city for the annual art show at the end of the year. He always has an annual art show for all the parents and kids. They can come and explore the school filled with artworks from all the grades. Mr. G and the students put a lot of hard work and effort into it, and it's very appreciated. Sometimes my family and I even joke about whenever I get older taking his job, because whenever I get older, I want to be an art teacher just like Mr. G. Last year, whenever I was in 5th grade, I auditioned for the school news program called JETV News. Almost the whole 5th grade audition, and 12 lucky kids got selected to be a part of the morning announcements crew. I was chosen, and throughout the time, I got to interview a baby rooster and eat pizza with KDKA TV news anchor. It was all an awesome experience. The website he uses for the news program also has other features and videos too. I truly think Mr. Gebhardt is the best nominee because he works well with kids, is a great artist, and shows all the qualifications to be the PA Teacher of the Year. All in all, Mr. Gebhardt should be the Pennsylvania Teacher of the Year. Thank you.
There are too many Aarons and Adams, and they're right together in the program, so it's easy for someone of my advanced years to get confused. Max Elfenbein is our next student presenter, and he'll be introducing to us Aaron Goldfarb.
My name is Max Elfenbein, and I'm currently a senior at Pencrest High School. I had Mr. Goldfarb as my 5th grade teacher. Mr. Goldfarb is one of those special teachers who's universally loved by both students and parents. Never once in my life have I ever heard a person say anything negative about him. Personally, he's my favorite teacher I've ever had. We bonded over sports, especially the Phillies, and I saw Mr. Goldfarb as not only a teacher, but a friend. That is the type of person that Mr. Goldfarb is. He tries to relate with all of his students, thus making them more keen to be in school and learn. In the classroom, he's engaging and enthusiastic, giving personal attention to every student in the class. He always encourages students to do their best and creates an environment in which it is possible. As a student of Mr. Goldfarb, you really feel that he cares about you. Apart from being an excellent teacher, Mr. Goldfarb is also a great role model. He is one of the most respectful and kind people that I've ever met, and I admired him even as a 10-year-old. One anecdote of Mr. Goldfarb's that I will always remember was him telling the class about how disgusted he was to listen to the Eagles fans cheer Michael Irving's career-ending injury in 1999. If the man can have sympathy for a Dallas Cowboy as a diehard Eagles fan, that really shows he can have compassion for everyone. Mr. Goldfarb's relationships with his students don't stop when they graduate elementary school because of his presence in media's community. He's always happy to support his former students and is a regular at our high school's basketball games. He also volunteers as a basketball coach at our local youth center. My brother is also a former student of Mr. Goldfarb and loves him just as much as I do. Mr. Goldfarb showed his devotion to teaching when my brother was in his class as he taught after sustaining a severe concussion. He had to tape his classroom lights blue so they were not too harsh for him, but he was still the same superb teacher. Mr. Goldfarb means a lot to me and my family, and we are honored to be here on this special day. I can think of no one else more deserving of this award.
Linda Granite is our next finalist, and we'll learn more about her from Kaylee Withrow.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Withrow, and I've known Mrs. Granite for 9 years, and she has never given me bad advice until last night. So I was really nervous about what to tell you about what Mrs. Granite taught me, but she just told me to say that she taught me the clarinet, duh, and just end the speech. But I decided I should probably say more than that. I still remember back in 4th grade, the day when Mrs. Granite helped us try out all the different band instruments. As soon as I picked up the clarinet, I could already make a sound, even though it was an awful one. Mrs. Granite asked me if I could play the song Hot Cross Buns, not really expecting that I could, because that would be crazy for a little kid never having touched a wind instrument before. Yet there I was, squeaking out a barely recognizable version of it, but she made me feel like I was ready to audition for the symphony. We both knew right then that this was the instrument for me. Later, at our elementary school spring concert, Mrs. Granite gave me an opportunity to play a solo for the audience. I was super nervous to play by myself, but I knew that Mrs. Granite would be there with me and had confidence in me, and so everything would be okay. Years later, I am now a senior in high school. I have played the clarinet for 9 years, and after all these years, I am able to tell her that I still remember all the things she has taught me, like how to motivate myself to practice my instrument. All that practice has paid off because this year I was a clarinet section leader in the marching band. I would never have been able to achieve this position without her support to give me confidence during those early years. She has a powerful impact on helping her students develop the passion and determination to succeed musically and academically in band and in life. Not enough people realize just how important music is as part of a student's education. I am so glad that Mrs. Granite was my first band teacher because she instilled in me a love of music that has carried me up through my high school years. From that very first day I picked up the clarinet in 4th grade, all the way through 12th grade, I have stuck with it all these years because of Mrs. Granite. I want to thank her for helping me become as passionate about music as she is, and I know that she will continue to inspire her students for years to come. Thank you so much, Mrs. Granite.
now I'll welcome Sarah Adkins, who will be introducing for us Georgette Hackman.
Hello, my name is Sarah Adkins, and I'm a freshman at Cocalico High School. Sitting down to write this was challenging, to say the least. It's nearly impossible to captivate Mrs. Hackman's greatest in 2 short minutes. You see, Mrs. Hackman and I go back, all the way back to when I was in 4th grade. We were pretty much soulmates from the first time we talked. Our first conversation was about our fondness of Abraham Lincoln. The following year, 5th grade, I was placed in her homeroom where our relationship further developed and we even traveled to Washington, D.C. together. After 5th grade, I was leaving to go to the middle school, and so was she. She was moving up to teach 7th grade social studies. In 6th grade, I participated in her oratory club, as I couldn't bear a year without her. Then, in 7th grade, I found myself once again in her homeroom. That year, she went above and beyond to accommodate my needs as I was struggling with mental health at the time. Also, she assisted me with a poetry contest, which I won, and accompanied me to the winner's ceremony in Hershey. As of now, we are still continuing to do new and exciting projects together. Not all students share the same relationship I do with Mrs. Hackman. However, they know they are lucky to be taught by her. Mrs. Hackman is a lifelong learner who is devoted to American history. Her classroom is unique and interesting due to her passion and knowledge. She is able to form a unique bond with all of her students. Her classroom is a fun, safe place for creativity, learning, and fun, which is highly sought after for oncoming 7th graders. In conclusion, I would like to thank Mrs. Hackman for the opportunities she has given me and so many other students, along with the education she has equipped us with. Mrs. Hackman has taught me so many things, but most importantly, she has taught me how to be a good person and how to use my voice to change the world. I wouldn't be the person I am without her help throughout the past 4 years. We are truly a crazy cool duo of history buffs. Thank you.
Ben Yuri will be introducing Barbara Kurtz.
Hello everyone, my name is Ben Yuri and it's my honor to be speaking to you today about my Spanish teacher, Miss Kurtz. I've had the privilege to meet her my sophomore year of high school, and I've known her for the past 3 years. And I've come to learn what a great person she is and how devoted she is to my school and community. And she's taught me a lot about having strong moral character, and I try to embody the lessons that she teaches us in class when she isn't yelling at us in Spanish, which none of us understand. I first realized what an outstanding teacher and role model that Miss Kurtz is when I had her as a Spanish teacher in Spanish 3. Being sophomores, my classmates and I were quite chatty, and instead of ignoring us or telling us to quiet down, she would just say, "Let me earn my paycheck." And this was very surprising to us because while most teachers would just tell us to be quiet, you're going to fail the test if you don't listen, she was really worried about us understanding and making us more successful for the future. And this really sets her aside. And it shows how motivated she is to inspire the next generation of students. And this is very evident through her program where she fully funds it, and it allows students to come before school or during school who can't rely on a meal to have, and they can come throughout the day, and she'll make sure that they get food before they leave. So that's really awesome. And for those of you that didn't get the opportunity to look at her biography yesterday, there's also a very great example of a student named Sean that she had, and Sean wasn't the best student. He bounced in and out of jail a couple times, but he always found his way back to Spanish class. And the principal sat him down, and why Spanish? Like, why do you always go to Spanish? And he simply said because he felt loved. And Sean's story is very typical with Miss Kurtz. Anyone in our school knows that her door is always open and that she's always willing to love them and show them attention. So I would like to thank Miss Kurtz for inspiring us all to develop as people and giving me the honor to speak on your behalf today. We're all so proud of you, and no matter what happens today, you're the Teacher of the Year in our hearts. Thank you.
I got to take a couple breaths. Mallory Zufall will be introducing Greg Mason.
As
simple definition of a teacher is a provider of knowledge and insight. However, the definition I would use for Mr. Mason is one who inspires, motivates, and opens the mind to endless possibilities of which one can achieve. He provides knowledge beyond physics, helping to reach goals and work to full potential. He connects with each student, ensuring that they will succeed in everything they attempt. As a junior, my older sister came home raving about the amazing experiments they did in Mr. Mason's forensic science class, unaware I would have him as a physics teacher when I was her age. After I first learned that I was going to have Mr. Mason as a teacher, I asked my sister what he was like. She responded with, "He's a great teacher, but expect a lot of cheesy jokes." Her and I having differing opinions, I questioned if I would feel the same way about this Mr. Mason. Instantly, I recognized that he did indeed have a lot of jokes, especially addressing his height, or lack of it. But he's vertically challenged. But what was most true was about what my sister said was how he truly is an incredible teacher. Each Friday, he takes the time to explain interesting physics phenomenons, or as Mr. Mason calls it, Freaky Physics Friday. This not only related to the lesson at hand, but connected to the world around us. Our safety is always his #1 priority. Before each weekend, he would ensure to tell us to have fun, but to make sure we were careful. Not only did Mr. Mason teach us safety, but he helped me get into college. Junior year, I asked him to write me a letter of recommendation, and he was thrilled to do it. He gave me amazing pointers and asked what I wanted to do and where I planned on attending. He encouraged me to start getting everything ready, so when the fall of my senior year came, everything would be easy. When it came to the next year, I would pass Mr. Mason in the hall, and he would ask me how my applications were coming. Of course, not wanting to disappoint him, I said, "Almost done." However, I only completed 1. This is when I pushed myself further, as Mr. Mason taught me to do. Before I knew it, I was accepted to 6 colleges by mid-October. I am pleased to say, because of him, I will be attending Chatham University for early education in the fall of 2018. Without his guidance and his influence, I would not be where I am today. Without any doubt, I do believe Mr. Mason should be Teacher of the Year. His dedication to his students and vast knowledge provides a teacher who deserves to be recognized for his extraordinary efforts. Thank you.
Now, Morgan Guthrie will introduce Laura Owlett.
Hi everyone, it's so nice to be here today. The weather's just so beautiful. Anyways, my name's Morgan Guthrie and I'm currently a junior at Wellsboro Area School District, and as the inquisitive 16-year-old I am, I often ask myself what makes someone great. What qualities must a person have to change the lives of others? Motivation, compassion, patience, these all come to mind when I think of Mrs. Miller. I've learned so much from this incredible woman over the 5 years that I've known her. Not only have I improved my fluency, but I've become more aware of the world I live in. I feel more prepared than ever to explore what the world has to offer, all thanks to her. That being said, in a few months I have the opportunity to travel to France with her and some of my classmates for our school French trip. I couldn't be more thrilled to experience French culture firsthand and create memories that I'll hold on to forever. She's one of my favorite teachers, but a role model as well. If anything, the most important thing she's taught us is that success cannot be defined by winning or being #1, but by putting your heart into everything you do. In the French language, they have a saying, vouloir c'est pouvoir, and it translates as, where there's a will, there's a way. And Mrs. Miller is the most willing. She's filled with determination to overcome any obstacle in life and leave a positive impact. Her unconditional willingness to help others succeed in both work and life are what make her so remarkably unique. Her passion for learning, blended with phenomenal ways of teaching, create an unbelievably marvelous learning experience for my classmates and I. Every day I look forward to going to class because I know she's shaping us all into the young adults we're supposed to be. So I'll leave you all on one last note by saying that I feel so very fortunate to be here telling you about what an exquisite woman she is. Thank you.
Alison Mann will introduce Brandy Spillman.
As he said, my name's Allison. I'm now currently a junior at the Waynesboro Area Senior High School, a part of the Waynesboro Area School District. And I have known Mrs. Spielman since my 8th grade year, whenever I was a puny little 8th grader. So for those of you who don't know Mrs. Spielman, she's an 8th grade ELA teacher at the Waynesboro Area Middle School. When I first met her, one of the first things she told me was, "Tell me a little bit about yourself." I then proceeded to tell her that I was and still am a dancer, I like photography and English, and then I popped the question back at her, and she said that she loves Frozen, Star Wars, reading, and that she too was still and is a dancer. To me, it's really helpful to start out the school year with a teacher who's interested in her students. And within the first couple weeks of school, she started to notice my strengths and weaknesses. And so from then on to the end of the year, she knew what she needed to do to help me grow as much as possible in English. I asked some of her past and present students to give me 3 words to describe her. Overwhelmingly, the most popular ones were caring, intelligent, and understanding. And then after I asked the question, they immediately said, "I miss her, or I will forever and always love her. She'll be my favorite English teacher." Mrs. Spiel reminds me of a combination of her 2 favorite characters, Princess Leia and Princess Elsa. Both a princess and a superhero. She's determined to help her students, and she's brave, because not everybody has the patience to be an English teacher in all reality. She deserves this award more than anyone because she works so hard for her students to grow and thrive as much as possible within the 180-day school year. She has helped me grow personally in English and as a person. Without her, I don't know where I would be. She has helped shape me into the person I am today. I just wanted to leave you with a note that she has always said to me and her other students, "You can be anything you want to be. Dream big, for anything is possible with hard work and dedication." Thank you.
And now, welcome to Sifa Fields, who will introduce Jennifer Wall.
Hello, my name is Tasifa Fields. I'm a senior at Lowestoft Township High School. Miss Wall is a great teacher who truly deserves the nomination for Teacher of the Year in Pennsylvania. I have known Miss Wall since 10th grade, and now as a senior, I have grown to see not only the amazing teacher she is, but the amazing person she is as well. Miss Wall cares a lot about her students, more than the average teacher would. She tries to make sure that they are not only succeeding in her class, but succeeding in all of their classes they have. And if students are having problems, she is always there to talk to them and help them out. Personally, I can give many examples to support these statements. One summer, I was fortunate enough to be accepted into the University of Pittsburgh Health Career Scholars Academy. The only problem, I had no way to get there. So, Ms. Wall, as well as my other teacher, Ms. Brausford, took the time out of their summer to drive me all the way to Pittsburgh just so I could have that experience. That was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. I was able to experience it all because of them. Ms. Wall helps me out a lot if there's any issues at home as well. She does everything in her power to try and relieve me of those problems so I can focus on my education. Ms. Wall doesn't just do this for me, she does it for all her students. I am just one of the many people who can attest to the amazing, caring, and loving teacher that she is. Ms. Wall truly wants all of her students to succeed in everything that they do, which makes her stand out. She tries to use the knowledge and experiences that she has gained, not just from traveling to 47 countries, but in life in general. She uses those things to grab the attention and captivate her students. She doesn't just want her students to learn the material, but to really understand it with real-world examples. That is what also makes her a great teacher. So on behalf of all our students, I'd like to say congratulations, and we are all proud of you, Ms. Wall. You really deserve this.
Thank you. That was very good. All right, where are we here? I think we're at the moment a lot of people have been waiting for, huh? I have in the envelope 2018 Teacher of the Year, Secretary Rivera. Would you like to?
So to learn more about our 2018 Teacher of the Year, join us for lunch, where we will present and announce and share who our teacher is then. Have a great afternoon. See you with full of suspense in a short time.